We're going to learn a bit about Python programming and how it relates to algorithmic programming, and I'll uncover some background on this very interesting computer language. Going to the prehistoric era, or the first days of Python. The 1960s, of course, was black and white television, analog radio, telephone trades, and it was a period built around human-to-human interactions where an investor with money and a hunch could call his broker, who would then enter the order into his own system, and it was a done deal. These, some people call the good old days, but in respect to trading, it actually wasn't often the case. There were many people that got duped on in different ways. During the 1970s and 1980s, trading started getting more complicated. In 1976, the NYSE introduced its designated order turnaround, or DOT system, which allowed brokers to route 100-share orders directly to specialists on the floor. And by 1984, the NYSE had a more sophisticated super DOT system, which allowed for orders up to 100,000 shares to be routed directly to the floor. And suddenly it was no longer man versus man, but man versus machine. Now fast forward to present day. This is when fintech disruptors came along in the 2000s, and we saw algorithmic trading, high frequency trading, and other kinds of trading that dealt 100% with computers. Faster, more sophisticated hardware enabled programmers to create more sophisticated algorithms, which in turn allowed computers to decide the timing, pricing, and quantity of trades based on pre-established routes. Instead of one big order, traders could now create hundreds of tiny orders or even thousands of tiny orders. Ever more sophisticated algorithms paved the way for high-frequency trading, and think of millions of trades each day at blazing fast speeds. The future of machine versus machine was now. Why is Python so critical for algorithmic trading? If you want to unlock the secrets of a particular culture or country, you have to look at the language. And it's the same thing with algorithmic trading. But which programming language is the right one for this job? In most cases, it's Python programming language. After all, you cannot learn them all at once, and so inevitably you need to start with one, with things such as cost, performance, resiliency, modularity, and various other trading strategy parameters driving your decision. There are basically 5 programming languages from which an aspiring trader can elect: Python, C++, Java, C++, and R. We'll focus on 3 of these languages here: Python, C++, and R, in greater detail a bit later. One of the things that is very convenient about Python is the extent to which it makes writing and evaluating algo trading structures easier thanks to its functional programming approach. In fact, relative ease and simplicity of use are some of Python's main selling points. There's even something called the Zen of Python. Beautiful is better than ugly. Explicit is better than implicit. Simple is better than complex. Complex is better than complicated, and readability counts. Now let's go over some benefits and drawbacks of Python algo trading. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Enough about Zen and the art of algo trading with Python. What are some of these benefits? Now with Python, 1. For people new to algo trading, Python code is readable and accessible. Unlike other coding languages, there's simply less of it, which means that trading with Python requires fewer lines of code due to the availability of extensive libraries. Python is an interpreted language. An interpreter executes code statements one by one, unlike a compiler that executes code in its entirety, listing all possible errors at once. Debugging in Python is comprehensive and thorough, as it permits live changes to code and data, increasing execution speed since single errors rather than multiple ones appear and can be cleared. 3. In a word, popularity. Chances are that the algo platforms and tools for trading already on your radar are using Python. The culture of algo trading is done in the language of Python, making it easier for you to collaborate, trade code, or crowdsource for assistance. Next, Parallelization and Python's tremendous computational power endow your portfolio with scalability. Compared to other languages, it's easier to fix new modules to Python and make it expansive. And because of the existing modules, it's easier for traders to share functionality between different programs. And next, Python's extensive comprehensive support libraries mean that most highly used programming tasks are already scripted into it, limiting the length of the code to be written. Moving on to weaknesses of Python. One of Python's primary strengths is also one of its weaknesses. Because of its ease of use, features, and extensive libraries, Python users can have trouble learning and working in other programming languages. Next, Python excels in desktop and server applications, but less so in mobile computing, according to some users. And thirdly, variables are considered objects which can translate into memory leaks and performance bottlenecks, i.e. millions of variables are stored, stemming from inefficient memory management. Now, Python versus C++ versus R language. When compared with C++ and R, Python is a user-friendly language that has proven to be a winner for traders learning to code, as well as for more advanced users fine-tuning their crypto trading bots. Whereas C++ is a complicated language, Python is a confidence booster, making it easy for beginners to read, write, and learn with comparatively low learning curve. It can also be used to develop some fantastic trading algorithms that might otherwise be a hassle or too time-consuming when using C++. While Python is slower than C++, it is nonetheless widely used in quant trading because it is a high-level language. Things such as research and prototyping are much easier to accomplish due to Python's high-performing libraries. Additionally, given the extensive offerings of libraries in Python, algo traders can perform virtually any type of data analysis at an execution speed comparable to compiled languages such as the C++, because Python libraries actually utilize C++ and C code. Trading frequency will largely determine the language to be used for trade execution. Typically, if the trading frequency is in the sub 1 second range, a compiled language such as C++ would be an ideal choice. This, however, does not affect backtesting and research, since execution times do not matter in a backtesting scenario. Additionally, high-performance libraries such as pandas and NumPy can be utilized to decrease the computing time for backtesting. When first starting out, your crypto trading algorithm might be a simple one, but as you begin to progress, you might want to experiment a bit more with more advanced techniques, such as optimizing parameters with deep learning using state-of-the-art techniques and neural networks, in which case Python is the most popular language. You'll also notice by now that R language has not been mentioned much. A few years ago, R and Python were on equal footing in the eyes of some, but Python now has superior support for modern software development tools and practices. And with its package, libraries having met or exceeded R in virtually every aspect. Not to mention its ease of use. Python comes out on top. R just does not have the look or feel of a fully featured organized language, employing a clean and consistent syntax with object-oriented features and packages that are easily extensible. Now, some applications of Python in finance. By bridging econ, finance, and data science, Python has become one of the most popular programming languages for fintech companies and consistently ranks among the top 3 most popular languages in financial services. In fact, Python is among only a handful of programming languages that offer the greatest number of job opportunities in absolute terms within the banking sector. According to research done in 2020, there are nearly 1,500 Python jobs, with 14 other Python programmers chasing each one. Big players such as Citigroup now offer Python coding classes to banking analysts and traders as part of their continual education program. For many other reasons mentioned earlier, Python has a great deal to offer for traders as well as analysts and researchers. Also, because of its analytics tool, Python is widely used in quantitative financing. Thanks to libraries such as Pandas, Python users benefit from easier data visualization and sophisticated statistical calculations. Financial service providers can also harness powerful machine learning algorithms in their predictive analytics with Python-based solutions that utilize libraries such as PyBrain. And Python is not just a fantastic programming language for algorithmic traders. For multi-billion-dollar corporations to startup companies, it is a language driving some of today's biggest brands and likely the stars of tomorrow. Google, Facebook, and Microsoft use Python for things such as web applications, data science, AI, machine learning, deep learning, and many other companies use it also on their own websites.